guys, I've got an interesting question from someone that just joined my email list just the other day. His name's Luke, and Luke is just getting into jiu-jitsu. He's 39 years old. He's a new guy, and again, this is a common question that comes up, and this is a super important idea for any of you guys that are just starting jiu-jitsu. So he said he just started a month ago, and right now he's training 3 days a week. He says he's not trying to be the most dominant competitor. He's not worried about competing. He's not chasing belts. He's doing this for his own his own enjoyment, his own self-improvement, all those sorts of things. But his question to me is, with this 3 days a week, and he said he's trying to treat this like a marathon and not a sprint. He says, my question to you is, how do I maximize my BJJ progress and potential when I'm only training 3 days a week? He says, thanks again. I'm enjoying your content. So Luke, thanks for the question, brother. And my question to you before I would get into anything else is, you said you don't want to be the number one competitor. You're not worried about chasing belts. This is simply a you thing, right? Then why do you have to maximize anything? Why do you have to maximize your time and your progress, right? That's something that I would get you to think about. And this is, for any of you guys that have the same idea, think about why you need to do that. Because for me, this is like what happens a lot of times with jiu-jitsu is people come in for this thing and they're just there to enjoy it. And then all of a sudden it turns into this monster that it shouldn't have turned into, because we're in society. And whenever we do something in society, we have to have something to show for it, right? Like, why are you spending all this money? Why are you spending all this time here, risking yourself to get injured? What do you have to show for this thing? I know that was the case with my parents and my family. Like, they would look at this thing that I was doing called jiu-jitsu, that they could barely say, right? My mom would call it jiu, like, what is that stuff? And she didn't understand it. She's like, why are you spending all your time, your money? You're always going to these tournaments on the weekends. Why are you doing this stuff? Oh, I couldn't tell her why. I was like, I just love doing it. And so I just wanted to do it all the time. Later on, I could look at it and I could articulate what was going on and some of the things that I was getting from it. But at the time, I had nothing to show for it. And so I share this with you because the way that I would get you to think about this, Luke, and anybody else that's having this situation, instead of worrying about maximizing anything, right? Worry about the progress and what you're going to get to show for it. Think about jiu-jitsu as a couple things. Think about it, one, as a ride. Think about you were going to an amusement park, you got on a ride, right? And you get on the ride and you're enjoying the ride, right? With the ride, your goal is not to get to the end of the ride and then go, man, what do I have to show for being on that ride? Your goal is just to be on the ride. You want to be on the ride as long as possible. You just want to enjoy it for what it is. The twists and the turns and the ups and the downs, right? And it's the same thing with, maybe you can think about another way. Think about it being in love with someone. I mean, like, when you're in love with someone and you want to see them, you're not worried about where this is going to go or how you can maximize something. Well, maybe you are. Maybe you're one of those people, right? Trying to get something out of someone. But for most of us, if we fall in love with someone, we're just with them and we enjoy being with them. And our goal is not to run through this relationship and get to the end of it so we can say, well, this is what I got for it. You just want to enjoy it. You want to be in the moment with them. And so you got to, at least for me, this is helpful. Think about jiu-jitsu in that way. Think about it as like it's a ride and it has these ups and these downs, and you're trying to be focused on being on the ride. And it's something you fall in love with. And if you fall in love with it, you will get better by and large because you're in the moment and you're just loving this thing. You're obsessed with it. Because for me, that was how it worked. Like, I got into it. I was just in the ride. I loved being in the gym. I was falling in love with the training. And even on my bad days, they were still good days. And so there was no problem. I could maximize my training potential and be obsessed with it because I wanted to. I was always looking for new things and how to improve. And if you have a good coach, you'll get good ideas on this. But the reason why I bring this up, because a lot of times I've seen students have this issue where they'll come into it. And when I think about the students who get the very best, like my best students that have gotten really good at jiu-jitsu, they shoot up. Those guys just fall in love with training, and women too. It's guys universal. They just fall in love with training. They're just training all the time. They love it. They're always looking stuff up. They're enamored with it. They're obsessed with it. The people that a lot of times I call them shooting stars. They come in, they burn bright for a little bit, and they putter out. Those people typically, it's sad when you see it. They come in, they buy the rash guards, they buy the gis, they buy everything, the instructionals. They're talking about it all the time. They're obsessed with it, whatever. But they put too much pressure on themselves to excel at this and be, again, what's my progress? How did I do today? Did I maximize everything? And you see them burn bright for a little bit and then they putter out. They're gone. They put too much pressure on themselves because, again, what we're doing on a day-to-day basis is mostly just play. We're playing this game of rolling with each other, and we get all these lessons and all this stuff that we get from it. But at its base level, it's a bunch of humans coming together, wrestling around, sweating on each other, playing this game. It's what we're doing. And so I share that with you. I would lose this idea of maximizing anything. Let that come. It will come, I promise you. You will find resources, you will find coaches, and there's all kinds of things like drilling that you can do that can be really helpful for maximizing your skill progress and everything else. But right now, you're 39 years old, you're almost 40, 3 days a week. That's going to be a pretty tough training regimen at first, man. Your body's going to be banged up from it. So I think 3 days a week is a really good start. And instead of being worried about your progress, and you're maximizing all this stuff. I like saying that, maximizing. just worry about falling in love with your training. Worry about being in there and try to like be in the moment and find the moments in the gym when you just love being there. Whether it's you being exhausted after a training session, whether you finally got the hang of that technique you've been struggling with for a little bit, or even like one of your buddies, like he just stopped your best move and he caught you in something. You're like, damn, he got me today. Now I've got to figure out how to get better and I've got to come back after him and that kind of thing. Fall in love with all that stuff. And again, your progress will follow. So again, Luke, hopefully that's helpful to you in your start, and anybody else that has that situation, hopefully that's useful to you. I'll talk to you next time.